MSNBC has been in trouble for quite some time. They really don't draw people anymore, and not a whole lot of people in the very important demo, which is the young folks and the people that still spend money. Because if you're over 60, they really don't need you anymore unless you're watching the pharma ads. What they really need is the younger folks that have money that they intend to spend, because that's how advertisements work. And unfortunately, PMSNBC had to drop a new show because they have to let Maddow going back to her old one-day-a-week schedule for $25 million a year. That's good work if you can get it. But Psaki, Jen Psaki, the former White House spokesperson, is now essentially that person, the replacement, the pitch hitter for Maddow. And it doesn't seem to be working out very well, especially after the second episode. And we're here to talk about it. Here we go. And what's seeming like a regular occurrence now, Kevin is here to join me today. The amazing Kevin Apollo. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm great. I'm even better after seeing news like this, because I feel like they keep misstepping. And mind you, a little background, and I know you know this, but maybe our audience doesn't. PMSNBC is going to be spun off of Comcast. So they kind of need some of these people to work, they needed to work out. I don't know. What do you think? You think Jen Psaki is going to work out?
They went all in on everybody's third favorite Chucky doll, and it doesn't seem to be working out for them. You know what? I just kind of have to wonder how much were they paid when they said take the least favorite press secretary of the last probably 3 administrations and pay her a lot for really bad takes when her takes were terrible before she became a press secretary, and then we're going to throw her in a primetime slot after massacring the initial lineup that no one watched. I'm not sad to see Joy Reid go. I've been kind of sticking that voodoo doll for years. But Psaki, did you really think this was good? Who thought this was a win here?
Hey, I don't know, but it's a 4-day-a-week work schedule. So, already she's getting cut a break, and it may not be enough of a break. But let's jump into the story itself. I think that's important. I think the audience should share in the hilarity. This is the hilarity. Jen Psaki's new PMSNBC. I need to say that again. Jen Psaki's new PMSNBC show Tanks, with key demographic in second episode. This is by Diana Glebova over at the New York Post. And I love the way it starts out. It was a Psaki bomb. We went to the bar. We got Psaki bombers. That's what happened.
Psaki bomb.
The Psaki bomb. And the former press secretary, Jen Psaki, tanked with a key demographic in her new show's second episode, indicating possible trouble for her future ratings. Let me tell you, she got a different kind of Saki bomber here. But look, does this speak well for the pipeline of White House to news reader, in the future?
I think, we've talked about it across a couple of different shows. I think that the news media is in the middle of a reckoning, right? I've said a billion times, we'll skip all the FDR did a great disservice to the press by getting rid of all of his foes and turning it decisively liberal. But you had a few decades there where there was at least a pretense of we're going to play fair / the parties weren't that separate. Then you get to 2000 and, it's 2:00 in the morning and no one knows what's going on yet. And then you watch the press take sides. Then in 2004, they declare war. In 2008, they celebrate a righteous and moral victory. And then in 2012, they decide that we're going to lecture you for the rest of eternity. And then 2016 came around, and they all lost their minds collectively. So people are kind of tired of it. They're a little fatigued. They've all kind of been exposed for being in bed together. It's crazy to me that, in order to get a job, in a lot of these newsrooms, instead of going to journalism school, your best shot is just to go be an intern, an intern for for a Democrat congressperson, and you're pretty much guaranteed a job. So there's not even a lot of room for alternative thought or even a desire to do research. It's just bang the mantra drum louder and louder and louder because someone's going to pay attention to it. And right now, her 4 years with her what's she like 2.5? Who 2.5 years with Biden? She was the first person to tell you that everything's fine. He's great. He's the smartest person on the planet. He's out there doing calisthenics every morning. And in reality, it was Weekend at Bernie's too. Not even the first one, the second one. So she's not exactly trusted. She doesn't exactly come across as credible. And honestly, she has never been that likable. So why people keep insisting on throwing her in front of a camera is beyond me. Because you give her a live mic, and within 3 minutes, you're getting the ick. So someone got paid a lot of money to make a really dumb decision, which I suppose is par for the course for MSNBC. But my lord, I guess the good news is there's no place else to go but up, right? Literally nobody's watching the show, so
Kevin, I'm with you. That's what I used to think, and then we got her after Rachel Maddow, and didn't they have Acosta? Didn't they? They had like a string of people that are not as valuable as like their perception might be to their the people that work there. This is bad news because PMSNBC is getting spun off into oblivion because Comcast doesn't want them anymore. It's insane. And her new gig, according to the article, features her show The Briefing on MSNBC's primetime slot. That's the Maddow slot because she is the Tuesday to Friday person that allows Maddow to go back to napping all the time or cooking up new ways to lie to the American public because there's no news involved in Maddow's show. It is all spin. Again, they didn't have to think hard about the corporate name. And the problem is the numbers, which is the whole reason we're here, folks. So stick with us. You'll learn something. The Briefing had a strong start. The very first episode on Tuesday was 1.2 million viewers. That's amazing because 139,000 of those viewers were actually in the demo, the 25 to 54. The people under 55 is the best way to define that. The people who have money and can spend it and are looking to do so. But viewership fell off on Wednesday, and it's continuing to fall off, and I'll have some more numbers for us on this at another video, I'm sure. But we have to chronicle the decline of things because that's fun. That's how you write down history. But anyway, so on Wednesday they had 1 million viewers tuning in and just 65,000 people in the coveted demographic. That's not very many. And of course, we get this information from Fox News, who seems to do pretty well. I mean, if you look at them, Hannity got 2.64 million viewers on Tuesday at 9 p.m., with 312,000 of those in the demo. It's kind of embarrassing when you get doubled up on, across the board. And that's literally, a static number for Hannity on a Tuesday. It's not like Fox is fluctuating much, and they're not losing that. But you look at Caitlin Collins, this is embarrassing. She's probably one of the worst things on CNN. 468,000 total viewers. I bet she regrets trying to what's the word? Pretend to be Democrat with her numbers. 75,000 people were in the demo. These are not great numbers. So I'll ask you, Kevin, what do you think is unlikely to change? Fox News, Sean Hannity, and similar shows, or that we will see further decline of Jen with her Saki bombers and Caitlin Collins?
Yeah, I don't think it looks good for Caitlin and Jen here. Because there's a cognitive dissonance between the news, the progressive media, and where this demo's at. These younger kids are not. They're not really buying the spin, the way they used to. They have alternative media. They love their alternative media. They go to it. They want authenticity. I'm not getting that from anybody at MSNBC. And if you do come across as authentic, it's because you're a freaking lunatic. And people can sense that. So I don't see it getting better anytime soon. This is a systemic problem, inside of that network, and it's been like that for what I want to say decades now. So it's not going away anytime soon.
Do you think that's because part of that MSN is Microsoft Network and it was just seeded with garbage since the beginning because of Bill Gates?
I honestly, yeah, I really do think so. It's so funny that you said that too, because I love going to a work computer that isn't mine, and it's never when I open up, it's always MSN. And I'm like, ugh, get out of here! I don't want to see anything that's here right now. Unless I need unless you need the hot garbage take of the day. I'm trying to get out of MSN as quickly as I possibly can. That's how people feel about watching MSNBC. The outside of the outside of seeing who has the who has the tightest cat lady haircut, whether it was going to be Keith Olbermann or Rachel Maddow, there was no real reason to put on MSNBC unless you wanted to give yourself a brain aneurysm.
Well, and that's the thing too. Is I mean, you can always tell because they have a similar haircut and similar glasses, which is why I guess Maddow and Colbert work so well together. So anyway, let's move along and stop throwing shade at the terribleness of it all, and just say that in another great step forward, Maddow is wrong again in her prediction that Psaki will do better than her in her spot due to her knowledge of Washington and her previous stint at the White House. Well, I mean, she fits right in, telling mistruths to the American public and spinning everything, but I don't think she's doing better. The numbers don't look good, Kevin.
No. Listen, I almost want to say she can't do any worse, but she did. She did. So, again, there is just a massive disconnect and a refusal to read the room. There's a major trust issue. There's a major credibility issue. And again, she was the face of it. What was the name of the lady who replaced her? Why am my brain farting on her name? Jean. Oh gosh, her Jen's replesment.
I can't remember either. So no shade there. I'm going to tell you right now. She was nonsense. She was chronic nonsense. Nobody paid attention to her. They tried to put her up there as the first best or whatever, and that's the problem with everything. The importance of nonsense, immutable characteristics, to be the first this, first that. That's one of the other problems. They can't get beyond that, which means they put people in positions not because they have the merit or the qualifications, but because they gives them the opportunity the first best. And I don't remember her name.
Got to where you started to kind of feel bad for her because we knew that she was spewing nonsense. But what was she going to do? She was so deep in the nonsense pool that she was just kind of dog paddling until it was over with. But again, when you go back to Jen, hey, she was first in line. She was the one in her little, communist.
Oh yeah, that pink little fluffy hat with the communist symbol. That was the best thing ever. And just because I know everybody in our audience is yelling right now, her name was Karine Jean-Pierre.
There we go.
Yeah, the one that looked like a dollar store mop. Anyway, so sorry, I'm getting in trouble for that one. Look, Maddow managed better numbers when she held her primetime spot. She averaged a total of 1.9 million. In long lengths, sometimes those numbers dipped dramatically when people called her out for her outrageous lies. But she had 141,000 people in the demo. Mm-hmm. So Saki's Wednesday episode had brought the number down of viewers down by 46%. From Monday to Wednesday, they'd fallen 46% and 54% in the demo. 54% in the demo. You have to be in the demo to make money. That's the problem. And if they're spinning out this and a few other things from their cable, channels and such into a separate entity, are they going to actually be able to sustain themselves, Kevin? Do you see PMSNBC existing in 5 years?
Oh, I don't see how. I really don't see how. And the one thing I'll give Maddow is that she probably did better because she managed to make a brand out of herself. Even if you were like, oh, I can't believe, she was the face of the nonsense. The Saki, this was a gamble, and unfortunately, well, I don't, depending on your point of view, because to me this is hysterical. But the ratings are so terrible, the demo is so small that we're only 3 days in, and you lost more than half. So really, feasibly, by the end of next week, the demo size will be so small, it won't even be worth tracking. Which means there's no reason to do any kind of network sync, because you can't cross promote. No one's watching it. There's no reason to invest in advertising. You're not going to get your advertising dollars back. This is just it's a money pit, and it's a money pit, and it isn't even going to be 2 weeks old.
Well, and that's you know what, to add to that, and this is the last time I'm going to dunk on PMSNBC. The Wednesday episode of her show had so few people in the demo that it ran behind repeats of things like Friends, Seinfeld, Everybody Loves Raymond, Bob's Burgers, That 70s Show, and Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol, wow.
So kid shows are beating this thing. The whole point is her particular bias towards news. She's the queen of misinformation. Is going to cost that network, that spin-off, an awful lot. I mean, she told Rolling Stone in an interview this week, or this last week, I should say, that the second term of President Trump is the most dangerous presidency, there's the word, of my lifetime. Lifetime.
She's Baghdad Barbara. She just,
yes!
It's what?
Hey, look, it's the Genpocalypse, everybody. That's what we're suffering right now. Look, we could go on and on because there's a lot more to ask questions about this. But my final question to you, Kevin, is how long do you think Jen stays with MSNBC? Do you think it's a year? Is it 2 years? Does she make the end of her contract? What do you think?
Oh my gosh, I would imagine that they have to at least let her ride it out for a year, and then she'll want to go spend time with her family. You know, just a save face, because we know these folks, they always find a way to make sure they fail upwards. So they're not going to want to have her going out the door with mud on her face. They're going to try to protect her. So I say this disaster lasts at least a year. And then it's somebody else. Somebody else, probably someone we haven't seen for a long time, makes a grand return, and it gets to do poorly in the same slot.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, but I think that she'll find the bottom faster if she actually execute her plan of platforming emerging Democrats, because then the mask is entirely off of MSNBC, and it will be revealed for just platforming one side of the aisle. So it's essentially just a political channel at that point, pontificating on the lovely adventures of the Democratic Party. See, I'm going to be kind. Got to be kind. But you don't have to be kind. You can, very soon you'll be able to follow Kevin Apollo on his own channel, which, believe me, I'm going to make a big stink about. But hopefully you're still following me, so make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. But we are at the point in time where we ask you, what do you think? Do you think that PMSNBC is going to live 5 years from now? That's a good question. Do you think Psaki will be there longer than a year? And finally, do you think that they'll be asking Maddow to come back and fill in the slot that she's getting paid $25 million a year to be in? Let us know the answers, or your answers to those questions, and give us your thoughts down in that comments section below. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! But not on MSNBC.